Seems like there are a lot of people asking what's the difference between Notion and Cortex. As you can see here, there's 13 mention of Notion in the comment, but I'd say 10 people asked about that. As a user of Cortex now and Notion as well, but for different purposes, for Notion, I use it as a version of Asana or Trello for my clients, for my agency. Basically, I just use it like that. So to come, in progress, feedback, approved, different steps, and that's pretty much it. How I work in Notion. Other than that, I don't use it for anything else. Before I was using it for writing projects and so on, but not anymore. Especially because it's distracting. But before getting into the video, so I prepared the outline of this particular video in Cortex because why not? And yeah, let's get started. Before that, I want to give credit when credit is due. So, just as a reminder, guys, Cortex is only 1 year old, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're not in tech, you cannot fathom how hard it is to build a useful app. It is hard, okay? So you gotta understand that Danko has actually big balls to risk his online reputation putting a software out to the world without any investors. Very important to understand because the guy has millions of followers, and let me tell you, if you build the shitty products, it's gonna turn bad on you, right? I don't remember what's that effect, halo effect. I think once when you do something good, then you're gonna think that everything else is good. When you do something shitty, then the people are gonna think that everything else from you is shitty. Anyway, there this is a great product, and for a lot of good reasons. Anyway, third point is that they are in a feedback loop plus features implementation, which means as a user, you and me, you might get what you want, like what you ask for as a feature, if it makes sense to make it. And I'm going to talk about that later. And what I mean later is on upcoming videos. So, first question that you want to ask yourself is what do you exactly want to achieve? Like, what is your goal with whatever platform or app you're using, whether it's Notion or Obsidian or whatever. This video is really focused on the main differences between Cortex and Notion, and in terms of um, pros and cons. But yeah, this first question is gonna help you understand if this app is gonna be useful for you. I would say 99% is gonna be useful for you. Okay, but yeah, ask yourself to take notes, study, learn faster, build a personal brand. If it's any of those or all of those, because if you build a personal brand, then best believe that you're going to do all of this here. So, yeah, that will be extremely useful. Personally, for me, it's to build unique perspectives, organize my thoughts and ideas, to become more productive, more articulate, and a better writer. If I become a better writer, I become better at videos as well. So if you don't value the most important thing that Cortex's team is building, for which is developing unique ideas, become a better mind in a sense, then you won't necessarily see the value. You can argue that you could develop unique ideas everywhere outside of Cortex, which is true, but there's always a better way to do things. And it is better to build solid foundations and habits if you haven't started yet. I always like to give this analogy with basketball. Whereas if you want to learn how to shoot the ball, you better learn with great mechanics instead of learning with bad mechanics and having to learn all over again with a great foundation. So, really ask yourself the right questions from the beginning to pick a software that's going to follow you your entire life. So, let's start with the key differences as of now for me. As an actually, I'm going to change that as a Notion user. As I told you, I use it for client work, but I stopped using it for anything else because it was extremely distracting. So yeah, let's get into the main differences. So for me, what I really like in terms of key difference is the possibilities to seamlessly open multiple panes. So those are small windows such as this one to boost creative juice. As a designer, like I'm a, I would say, web designer and developer. And we had a tendency to always open, let's say, Figma on the right side and Webflow or Framer on the other window, and then works seamlessly together. And it's kind of the same thing as a writer. Like you have to open different things. Imagine if I could have opened, let's say, Figma on this right side on the same screen, and then I have a Framer on the other side. You can do that, yes, in Arc, but it's not the same thing. I would say it's not the same thing. Anyway, so that's one thing for me. In Notion, you cannot do that. Like, yes, you can open multiple windows. For example, let me just give you an example here. Say open learn Japanese, and then I duplicate that, and then I put those together. My goodness, it's really a pain in the ass. And so here now I have two pages. Let me come back here, Japanese study, and then I start like going here, vocabulary, blah blah blah, and then perhaps I will check whatever I'm doing. I stopped doing that as well. I don't use Notion to learn Japanese anymore. I'm gonna use Cortex for that moving forward. Anyway, yeah, this is how you would open different windows with Notion, unless I'm not aware, but like pain in the ass. Here, it's a different story because you can open multiple ones. Let's say I want to open this here. Oh shit, this is not how I do that. My bad. Uh, Actually, yeah, I think I click here, open in a new pen. Is that, yeah, correct? Perfect. That's how I do it. And then you can, let's say, if you want to put this here instead. So now I can see multiple things at once. You can you can argue that might be distracting, but depends on how using it. Like the purpose of this is to get into the flow state as fast as possible in terms of starting to have ideas coming together. Again, not really doable with Notion, so that's why I don't really like it in terms for like Notion and why I stopped using it. And let's continue. Notion has a distracting UI, and you end up doing something you did not intend to do. I'm gonna get into the more details for that. But yeah, that was like a huge thing for me. You gotta be honest with yourself when it comes to those things, right? Ask yourself the question: if you are using Notion, how many times you end up doing something you did not intend to do? Other thing, Notion is filled with useless templates that do not serve your purpose. And that brings me again to another question. Do you know what's your purpose though? So important things though to become aware of. So next one is Notion cannot connect ideas and visualize them. So I cannot do that in Notion. Here, they are working on the graph from like similar to Obsidian, but gotta be honest with you, I never used the brain graph on Obsidian. Like never done that, to be honest. It's just a fancy thing to show your kind of your brain or your ideas, but like honestly, never used it, so I don't really care about that. To be fair, so yeah. In terms of ideas, personally, what I do is just like when I want to think of something new per se, or like or come up with something new, I would just open as many windows as possible related to that particular topic, and then I will start getting more ideas. This is not a video to how to get ideas, so I won't get that in. I won't get into that for now. So the last point for me is that Notion is an all-in-one platform. Let me actually. Yeah, fix that. All in one platform for multiple things at once. So you can do client work, you can write for your newsletter, your social media, whatever. Like, there are people, their life is on Notion. And if Notion go bankrupt, then oh my goodness, I don't know what's gonna happen to those people. Honestly, Cortex here are working on the offline version that is coming up, but just like to understand that all in one platform for multiple things that do not serve the same purpose. In this case, for us, it's getting new ideas, organizing your thoughts, and writing. I won't say faster, but like better as a whole. So the purpose of Cortex as a all-in-one platform is for writing, right? Notion is different. It's a all-in-one platform for anything that you can think of. Like, again, like client work, you can go to client work and then start thinking about your, I don't know, your content for personal brand. Perhaps that's what was happening to me when I'm in Cortex now. It's different. My brain is kind of focused on what I came here to do for. So writing, developing ideas, and so on. So let's get into the pros and cons now. I'm gonna start with Notion. So you know it is free to use, easy to learn and implement basic stuff. When I say basic stuff, is that even me, like, I never wanted to learn Notion, like how to create templates, how to create databases, and so on. This is like complicated stuff. I did not want to get into that. Can create a CRM and databases easily. That's, and one turning point for me is that I really just wanted something free, to be fair, in the beginning of my agency. So that's why I picked Notion, and also because that was the first thing that I came across, and that was the thing that was recommended to me as well. Perhaps I could have started with Asana or Trello, but I just did not know better. Next one is to you can create free gated content, so lead magnets. Everyone does it, so it's not unique per se, but you've seen it probably. If not, everyone on Twitter does that, like creating free courses, whatever, on Notion. I personally hate it. Like, I really hate that. I think it's not really professional, I would say. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like it. Last thing is you can build systems and processes for your business. So, again, if you don't know, you don't know. But this is what I use Notion for. It's really good for, I would say, first users. Like, when you really tell them what to do and they don't know better, then it's perfect because they just follow the buttons and everything to to comply with your process per se. Now, cons of Notion. On a side note, I have never stuck with goal settings on Notion or writing altogether. Always distracted, always, always, always. So I came back to basics. I really like Apple Notes to start off, and then I was transitioning all those notes, transferring all those notes to Obsidian. In more details, the cons of Notion. So hard to master to get cool things done. When I when I say cool things done, is mostly like templates or so. You have to open multiple tabs in navbar if you want to get references from different places. So as I showed you in the beginning, you have to have multiple windows open. And yeah, again, let me ask you the question. Be honest. How many times did you end up doing something you weren't supposed to do? Be honest, please. Be honest again. How many templates or free lead magnets you downloaded without even using them? I'll be honest. A lot. Okay. And the last point is extremely distracting, especially for those with ADHD. I don't want to diagnose myself here, but I might have it. I would say 60-70% chances that I have ADHD, but I get a lot of things done still. So I won't take that for an excuse. But I would say is if you have ADHD and you use Notion for work, it's hard. Oh, it's hard. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. So now let's get into pros and cons of Cortex. I would start with it boosts creativity within the first four usages. New ideas popping off, dopamine hits, unique feeling of feeling smarter. This one is kind of funny, but it's true. Honestly, it's true. I do feel smarter every time that I come to Cortex and I get off off of it. Like after writing all of those pros and cons, filming the video, it's an ego thing, but at the end of the day I'm gonna feel smarter, but this it doesn't really matter, but just saying that it's just a unique feeling in a sense. Okay. Second point is that it's founder led, so Dan and teams, not teams, his team and his team are taking feedback very seriously. I don't see a lot of SaaS doing that, like the founder being the face of it and taking really all feedback very, very seriously. Never seen that. It's mostly like if it's a SaaS, then they go to founding and investors, blah blah blah, and then you lose practically every right to your own shit, which is crazy. And you won't see like the founder asking his users about feedback or whatsoever publicly and so on. So yeah, very cool. For me, capture is the most interesting feature. I really, really like it, and especially the capture for a particular topic, document, etc. Amazing. Also, many features to be released. If I come here, so we have auto connections, native desktop app, full mobile app, paywalls, public profile, podcast highlighter. I don't know that one. I don't really listen to podcasts anymore, but yeah, Graph View, so similar to Obsidian. YouTube transcription, this is very good. Global capture, I don't know what that is, but seems promising. I mean, it's very good. Another pro is new. It's a new app software. I don't know how you call it, but call it an app to the market, which means that again they will take feedback into consideration, like high consideration, to build a better product. There's a free tier available, similar to Notion. So Notion has a free tier and a paid one as well, but it's more targeted toward like people who are doing business with Notion. If you're only like creating content, then um, you could stay on the free tier. But again, let me ask you another question: is it like getting you somewhere? Staying on a free plan on whatever platform it is. If it serves the purpose, yeah, that's good, but depends on your goals. So the last one is easy to use, to be fair, extremely easy to use. I'm still getting used to it, but until now, for me personally, is very easy to use, especially if you come from Obsidian, Notion. I never use Rome Research, but I'm gonna start using it for the sake of the videos that I'm gonna film to really give an unbiased opinion. Like, I really want to use it and see like what are the pros and cons to give proper review. So let's get into the cons of Cortex. And I thought of that as well. Like, I don't want to do that on every single video, like pros and cons of Cortex on every single video. But if they release updates, then I will um, mention them here. Anyway, cons of Cortex. So minor bugs, and you should expect that as a user of a newly released app. Like, it's normal. Lack of basic elements. I think that is going to be fixed easily, to be fair. So basic toggle, for instance, I cannot. So this is what I mean by toggle. Okay, and this is like an element, but perhaps what I want for me personally is just like having, let's say, headline. So a toggleable headline, so that I can collapse video ideas instead of putting them into another element. So that's something that I'm gonna recommend, and I think that we're also already going to use to do it anyway. Another one is search for icons. So instead of like looking for an icon manually, you can just like put a keyword. For example, yeah, let me give you an example here. elements. If I do new elements and then I click on icon, so I have to actually look all the icons instead of, like, let's say, having a search bar and then I click ring bell, then it's gonna show me the ring bell. If I click calendar, if I search calendar, then it's gonna show me all calendars. Check mark, check mark. You get the idea. Maybe others I haven't really, nitpicked a lot of things, but anyway, I would say similar, but better UI than Obsidian. Yes, it's very similar. I would say 80%, but there are a lot of different things still. And you gotta understand that when you develop an app, you won't like try to reinvent the wheel. You're gonna take what is working. What is working is Obsidian. There's millions of users of Obsidian, and so I don't see why some people would say, "Oh, it's so similar, whatever." Like, duh. Personally, I don't see why they will try to reinvent the wheel. You actually take the exact same thing and you make it better. This is how you create a great product. And if you're not into product design, then you cannot understand that, unfortunately. But I'm just saying, like, things how they are. Um, but they're gonna make it better. You gotta understand again. It's 1 year old, and they just released it to the public. Be patient. Be understandable, guys. So yeah, last one. It's lack of UI preference. So it's only available on dark mode, and I don't really necessarily like dark mode all the time. Sometimes I like to switch between dark and light, especially for mobile app. I don't know, like, if it's forced to be dark mode, you're gonna lose some users. I would say. I know there's the percentages, like perhaps 70, I think, or 80 percent of iPhone users are using dark mode. But again, like the if I can take the other 20%, why not? So yeah, me, from those who, juggles between dark and light depending on the mood, because dark mode only, it's, I don't know, it's not ideal for a lot of people. Anyway, only available. Yeah, okay. So only available online for now. Basically, you it is not synchronized with your computer offline, but it can still download your documents. I know if that's possible with Notion, but I don't think so. Even like Evernote, I've seen like people complaining that it's hard to get your note out of Evernote. Anyway, this is possible here. You just click. Where do I click? Actually, I forgot. I think it's here. If I go here, yeah, download as a Cortex file as markdown. Very, very good. You can also upload documents and so on. But uh, again, I'm not doing fair justice to the full potential of Cortex. This is only what I'm seeing right now with my current usage. I did not use it at its full extent. There's the library. There's a lot of things. I mean, even that, like, I think you can do that in Notion and synchronize it with Readwise. But there's a lot of different things for me that, I mentioned here that could help you base your decision. And then I think I'm gonna do, yeah, not I think I'm gonna do a video comparing Cortex with Obsidian, with Rome Research, and with Evernote. I'm gonna leave those two till the end. That will be around like late October, because I never use Rome Research or Evernote. But Notion and Obsidian I did, so I can give an unbiased opinion as fast as possible for now. So thank you for watching and see you next time.